Hello! I apologise if I'm slightly out of focus. I can't quite see the viewfinder and the sun is a little bit in my eyes. But hi, welcome to another video. Welcome to my June reading plans. I'm actually filming this on the 1st of June and the sun has just gone behind a cloud. Typical. Sorry for the fluctuating lighting. I'm actually filming this on the 1st of June, so I need to get a shift on with making some plans, so I am sat here surrounded by books. Let us go through what I would hope to read in June. Now, I don't set TBRs, this is just hopefuls, plans, an MBR, if you will, might be read, of things I'm in the mood for, what's on the agenda, and so on. As far as I'm aware, I'm not participating in any big readathons in June. The only one I am going to be doing is my own Patreon readathon, which is Pokerthon. This coming weekend, the first weekend in June, we have a 24-hour readathon based on one of the gyms, so I have a few books picked out for that, and otherwise I am very much in the mood for rereading in June. I am really fancying some rereads. Part of me is like, don't do that because you have so many books that you haven't read yet that you should read before you go through and reread books that you've read before, but I'm in the mood to reread, so we will see how the month goes. As always, do not hold me to any of this. It may change. It's just what's on my mind right now. Let's kick us off with what I will possibly maybe be reading for the Pokerthon gym, my 24-hour readathon for Patreon. There are some prompts that I must fulfill for this, and one of the prompts is a book under 200 pages, and for that I'm going to be going for Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Volume 0. I am totally up to date with the main series of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. Love it. Can't wait to read more. Have not read Volume 0. This is kind of a different story, but the origins of where the story for Toilet Bound came from. Originally, Toilet Bound was written as a short mini-series about a girl who summons a ghost to get revenge on her ex-boyfriend. That is what this is. This is the short mini-series that evolved into the rest of Toilet Bound. Originally published as a self-contained short series, and you can read those chapters here. Nini tries to curse her ex to death, Ku falls off a roof, Hanako butts heads with a new group of school mysteries. Come and see where it all began. So the origin for Toilet Bound. I'm quite excited to give this a go, and it is less than 200 pages, so fits the prompt I need it for. Next up, I have an illustrated book, and for this one, I'm gonna try and give Goldie Vance The Hotel Whodunit a go. I think this could lend itself quite well to a 24-hour readathon. I think it will be quite quick. It's not a middle grade, but also not a YA. I don't know if it falls in the teen category, but I think it will be a very quick and easy read to get through. This is the novelization of Goldie Vance, the comic series. I have read the comic series. I don't like the last volume of that, but I enjoyed the other volumes, so I'm intrigued to see how it's going to work in terms of a novelised version. There are some comic-y bits in here, but most of it is a novel, and of course this is a story about Goldie Vance, who lives in a hotel that her father runs. She is desperate to be a detective and helps solve mysteries around the hotel, but they are not just little insignificant mysteries. They end up being quite big, involving Hollywood and NASA and Russian spies. She gets herself into a lot of mischief, really. So we'll see how this goes. Last time I read a novelisation of a comic series, I didn't like it. So fingers crossed I like this one a little bit better. And it should work well for a 24-hour readathon. And then the last one that I have planned for the 24-hour readathon is Starfell, Willow Moss and the Magic Thief, which is the most recent Starfell book. This one is for the middle grade prompt. Now, I have not been in a middle grade reading mood for quite a while, but there is a middle grade prompt, so I'm going to have to pull myself together and do it. And I think in order to pull myself together and do it, doing Starfell is probably a good choice, because the audiobooks for these are really good, really well produced, quick, entertaining, and with it being a series that I've already enjoyed, I think it's probably the best way for me to go about forcing myself through a middle grade. If you're unfamiliar with Starfell, it starts with Willow Moss and the Lost Day, about a young witch called Willow Moss who has a bizarre power to find lost things. She thinks this is kind of a useless skill because she just is constantly finding odd socks and random things that have gone missing until a powerful witch approaches her to say that last Tuesday has gone missing and she needs her help to find it. This triggers a lot of other events, and she realises that her power is maybe not as insignificant as she first thought. And that is my 24-hour readathon plan so far. I should be able to get through these quite easily, and then I will probably just mood pick what else I maybe get to in that 24-hour period. Next up, I should definitely mention my current read, which is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I was supposed to read this last month, however, my last month's reading got derailed because I fell in love with a certain book series. So I am only 150 pages into Warbreaker, so I definitely need to continue with this. I have a slightly unpopular opinion, I think, in that at 154 pages in, I'm not loving this. I'm not really enjoying this at all, really. I'm quite bored. I don't really care for the characters. I feel like I'm not quite following. I don't know if maybe I'm too early in and need to just give it some more time, but right now I'm not feeling this, which is bizarre because I know that so many people love it and I just don't appear to be. So, slightly concerned, but I am gonna continue reading it. I do have the audiobook for this one, so even if I just make it like my dog walk audiobook to keep me gradually plodding along with it, because I know that it is important. I think one of the characters in this is an important character in the Stormlight archive or something like that, so I will continue it. There's no risk of me DNFing this. I'm just having a bit of a difficult time with it, to be honest. Next up, we have something I am incredibly excited to read, and that is Legacy of Light by Matthew Ward. You've just heard me mention that my last month reading got derailed a little bit because I read Legacy of Ash and then immediately read Legacy of Steel. These books are not small, they're all about this chunky. But I couldn't help myself. I just dove straight into Legacy of Steel, was not on the plan, derailed my reading. I didn't get a lot of other things read that I wanted to, but I had the best time, and I'm so incredibly excited to dive into Legacy of Light and complete this trilogy. If you've watched my 1,000 pages in a week vlog from the other week, that's where I read Legacy of Ash and Legacy of Steel. You can see how quickly I fell in love with this series. I can't wait. I can't wait. How would I summarise this series? There's an ongoing magical battle between the forces of light and the forces of dark, and there is an ongoing political battle between the Republic and the South. And one of our main characters is the Duke of the South, and our other main characters are on the Council of the Republic, and it's that political story of, like, the either integration of the South or the rebellion of the South, but also how the overall magical battle between light and dark affects that, and how the war, where although they've got this internal conflict between the Republic and the South, there is an external bigger enemy who's after all of them, and their internal squabbling means that they maybe don't give that the attention that it needs, but then that bigger war is impacted by the gods, and the gods using certain people as their, like, play pieces in a bigger game. That's probably the vaguest way I could explain it to you. There is a certain character, Anastasia, if you've read the book. Anastasia is an incredibly interesting character to me, and I need to know more about her, but also what's going on with other people. I don't even want to say names because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't read it, but I have been loving this series and need to continue. So I'm going to do that. Next up, I am being impacted by my desire to reread again, and I want to put myself off rereading this because I don't think it's the right time to do it, but The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. I read this last year sometime. I don't know if you can hear them, but Jake is loving the dog quite a lot right now. Anyway, I read this sometime last year. It was a buddy read on Patreon and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I did like it. It's like a political law fantasy. Like, I think the author used to be a lawyer or something, so it's all very like legal and justice based, and our main character is, they call them a justice, the Order of Justices. Our main character is the most feared justice of all the land, and our main character is, Finn's just brought a mouthful of food up and spat it all over the floor. Nice. Our main character is that justice's apprentice, and they investigate the murder of a powerful aristocrat, and that uncovers a bigger conspiracy. There's a lot that I can't remember about this, but I remember there being some darker turns than I would have anticipated, and some betrayals that I didn't see coming, and so on. So I think a reread is definitely in order because there's a lot I can't remember. And I really want to read The Tyranny of Faith, which is the sequel to that. However, it is a trilogy, and the third book in this series doesn't come out until next year, I think, which makes me think maybe I should wait until closer to the time for the third book, but if I'm in the mood for it, maybe I should just go for it. So these are on my radar currently. Another one on my radar right now that probably shouldn't be for a reread is what's in this delightful package here. I haven't opened this yet. I was going to do it in a vlog, but why not do it here? I read this book for the first time in April. I want to reread it. Ta-da! This is the Broken Binding special edition of The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. I love this book. Read it for the first time in April, fell in love, want to reread it. It's been like just over a month and I want to reread it. The sequel comes out in September because it's only going to be a duology, and the sequel, second and final book, comes out in September. So again, I should probably put off rereading this until closer to that time. It's just on my mind. I loved it so much and I want to read it again. So I'm putting it on the radar. And also just look at this gorgeous edition. Oh. I love it. I wasn't aware that there was a special edition until after I had read it. Just the other day I saw them retweet something about it, and was very happy to see that there were still these editions available because it's gorgeous, and as one of my new favourite books, I want special editions. And then finally, probably the thing I am most excited about reading in June is The Rune of Kings by Jen Lyons. This is one of my favourite books ever. I love A Chorus of Dragons, and I'm so beyond excited to be rereading this series. I'm doing a Chorus of Dragons read-along with my patrons. Starting in June, we'll be reading a book a month. There are dedicated channels in the Discord for my patrons to discuss this. We're going to be doing a live show each month. I'm going to be vlogging each individual reread. I'm going to be annotating and tabbing. I'm so excited to get reinvested in this series, back in there with these characters, and just consume it all for a second time. And I think because it's going to be a reread, I will probably pick up on things that I didn't the first time round. I'm so excited. If you haven't heard me rave about the Rune of Kings before, hi, I'm Jade, welcome to my channel. I love this book series. This is about a young boy called Kieran, who, unbeknown to him, is the centre of a million prophecies. He is a bard's apprentice. He grew up on heroic tales, yet he also steals, desperate to escape the slums. When he raids the wrong house, he's marked by a demon, and things will never be the same again. His plight attracts royalty, who claim him as their immortal heir's lost son. However, far from living the dream, Kieran's embroiled in his new family's ruthless schemes. Escaping just makes matters worse, as Kieran is horrified to discover he features in an ancient prophecy. Every side, from gods to demons to dragons, want him as their pawn. And maybe Kieran isn't even the hero, for he is not destined to save the Empire, he is destined to destroy it. So we have gods, we have assassins, we have demons, we have dragons, we have wizards, we have secret societies, we have a boy at the centre of it all who is destined to destroy the world. I love this series so much and can't wait to get deep into it with my patrons again and just gobble it all up. I'm very excited. And that is it. That is my plans for June, which I'm now looking at here and thinking, it's actually a lot of reading. That's a lot. That's a lot of reading. Am I gonna do all that? I'm probably not gonna manage all of that. But that is everything that's on my mind right now. So, I hope you've enjoyed this little insight to what I'm desperate to read. If you have, give us a thumbs up. Chat to me down below. Let me know what you are eager to get your teeth into in June. I would love to know. And otherwise, I suppose I shall see you in whatever comes next. The vlogs that these will feature in, I'm sure. And I hope that you have a fantastic reading month. Bye!